Welcome back to Kevin Pollak's Chat Show. I am, as always, Chat Show. Thank you. That is good vodka. Happy Oscar Day. Do you care? Wow. What an unbelievably bad Oscar day it is. For those of us who love movies, just a horrible, horrible year. I don't, and 10, we're going to talk about it during the show, because I'm so upset. But it's Oscars and we don't care. That's the theme of the show, and I hope you enjoy yourself. Are you wearing a tux?
We don't care.
But we do care about our sponsor. We love our sponsor. They are here for a short 10 weeks, but they're very kind. And we angled from the beginning doing this show saying, look, we just want to, this week brought to you by kind of thing, you know, or this hour brought to you by, in this case, 9 hours. But so the fine folks at Bowflex said, we'll be your Huckleberry. And we made a little commercial. We made a little funny, fun thing. And by the way, I remember seeing the first Bowflex things, like the crazy machine thing with the 19 different, that thing. And then they always have ridiculous models, and you're going like, what? I could never. Why would, what's his number? But this latest thing that they asked me to get on, climb onto, and shoot this commercial for, this, well, you'll see. It's pretty fantastic. And for those of you that like to put on maybe a television or something in your home and get on one of these machines for 45 minutes, whatever, crazy fantastic. So I said, yeah, I'll get on that thing and I'll make an idiot of myself. And then we'll do an ad, and then I'll say thank you, Bowflex, for being our sponsor. And so that's how the whole thing kind of started. And then this happened. Roll it.
Hello, how are you? I'm here to tell you about Bowflex Tread Climber. Oh, this is exciting stuff. The machine is called the Bowflex Tread Climber. The Tread Climber combines the motions of a treadmill, a stepper, and an elliptical into one beautiful machine. It's 3 workouts in one fluid motion. You can't touch it, folks. All you have to do to lose weight is walk. That's it. Wow, walk. Bowflex recommends just 30 minutes 3 times a week. That's it. Ooh. How great is this? Bowflex did a study at Adelphi University that showed the TRC can burn up to 40% more calories than a stepper, can burn up to 2 times the calories of a treadmill. Wow! These are 2 ways to request the treadmill info kit. There are 2 different ways. What's in the info kit, you ask? I hear you. The full-color glossy brochure that describes the Tread Climber's unique motion 3-in-1 design, available models, financing offers, etc. Also, a free DVD so you can see it in motion and learn more about the machine. And finally, bonus. Ooh, bonus. We love bonuses. The Bowflex Insider's Guide, which includes a free fitness assessment, 6 weight loss secrets anyone can use to start losing weight today. Forget yesterday, we're talking about today. Info on nutrition, superfoods, and more. Hey, did I mention it was free? Enjoy your Bowflex Tread Climber today.
Walkwithkevin.com. Did you see that little URL that you're supposed to type into the browser? Yeah, pretty cool. So the machine really works, and it's really awesome. And if you're of mind and wondering which machine to check out, I honestly, with their sponsorship or not, you can't go wrong. It's a good one. And it's kind of cool. So there you go. Thank you, Bowflex, for your sponsorship. And folks, go out and get yourself one. Jamie?
Yes.
Hello.
Hi.
Oscar night, we don't care, that kind of thing. But more importantly, there's something that kind of went down, and the viewers know from a few weeks ago.
Oh, yes.
That you lost your...
My keys are still gone.
Yeah.
This has been about a month now.
Yeah.
And now I've replaced them. I replaced all my rewards cards and everything, so that, which was a pain in the ass. But the thing that's really upsetting me is I had a 1982 Figment Epcot keychain on it.
Yeah, you did.
That was as old as me. And it's gone.
Gone
and
forever.
I tried to get one on eBay, and they wanted like $30 for it, and it wasn't even in good condition. But I am keychainless.
Easy.
So yes.
Keychainless.
I am keychainless. So I was going to ask the viewers if they wanted to send me in a keychain. I will use said keychain. I will take photos of me using these keychains, and then we're going to do like a little montage.
And maybe a contest. Maybe we should give the winner something.
No, I didn't really think this through. I'll come back with something.
With some prize? I mean, we can
Yeah.
send them a T-shirt or a mug or whatever you... a broken mug. We'll send them a broken mug.
No mugs.
We got plenty of those.
We're getting travel mugs made, though.
We are getting travel mugs.
Because
sending these in-
the ceramic mugs were breaking so much.
And we're wrapping them in Kevlar, and they're still breaking.
Yes.
It's ridiculous.
It's ridiculous.
So just for the guests. And people watching can covet and then get a travel mug.
Right.
So, yeah, I think we should send someone for the winning keychain. We should absolutely quid pro quo this.
Sure. So, like, you know, if you can find... Because people know, the viewers know what I like.
Yeah,
know
they
what
do.
I'm into.
Them's in the chat room especially.
Exactly. So send me your keychains,
I'm going to
please.
challenge Irish right now.
You're gonna... They have names. Why does everyone in the chat room just call Shane and Ben Irish? Their names are
They got
Shane
it
and
from
Ben.
me.
His name's not Irish.
Yeah,
his
yeah,
name's
no.
Shane.
No,
He was talking about me.
No.
He has a name.
Yeah, we have a couple of Irish
He's
fans.
screaming now. I
Yeah.
have been challenged.
He has been challenged, officially by me. And these
Hilarious.
couple of great Irish friends of the show came out and spent some time with us a few weeks ago. We had a good time in L.A. and then up in San Francisco as well. We kind of went on tour with Irish. And so much so that we got an Irish guest today. Well, I do, before we get to Ask Kevin Larry King Games, want to go over a couple of upcoming shows because people were saying, you know, at the end of the thing, you always kind of wrap it up with check the calendar. Dave Thomas of Your Second City TV will be here next Sunday. So excited about that. And then for our second-year anniversary, so psyched, Lorraine Newman. Yay.
Yay.
And then the following Sunday, Fred Savage. So happy about that. And then your RoboCop, your Peter Weller, on April 3rd. If you're an Office fan, we're a little nutty for The Office. Oscar Nunez, who we're crazy about, ran into a restaurant and said, I loved the show. He's coming on April 10th. Rob Reiner, Easter Sunday, yet another Easter with Jews.
I'll
Very
make
exciting.
another ham.
We're gonna,
So we'll
Jamie's
have
going to make
delicious
another
ham.
ham for the Jews so we can secretly eat. And then Damon Lindelof, if you love The Lost, and he's writing the new the Star Trek second feature. But for the Lost fans out there, Damon is one of the co-creators and people who created all that magic and stuff. And he's brilliant and very excited. He's going to be here May 8th. Michael Chiklis, Lieutenant Scroats? Captain Scroats.
Detective
Scroats.
Scroats, which was that was a terrible joke from Family Guy.
It was,
Does
but-
anyone remember this? The Detective Scroats. I think it was Stewie was shaving his. Oh God, it was. Bad.
It was his coin purse. He
And
called
he's
it.
like, yes,
he called it his coin
And
purse.
he said it looks like Michael Chiklis down there.
Yeah,
and then it became like
they did a little sketch where a pair of So Michael Chiklis will be here May 15th, and then John Cho, speaking of Star Trek, your new Sulu, but also your Harold, not Kumar, May 22nd. Very excited about that too because I think he's pretty damn fantastic and curious to hear his story. You're not excited about that one at all? No. Yeah, I was going to say Star Trek, and she said no, Harold and Kumar. You'd be very excited about that.
He loves RoboCop.
Oh, that I know. Yeah, bring in your
Yeah.
posters. Yeah.
I'm surprised you don't have. Kenny's always throwing around trading cards. Do RoboCop trading cards? Of course he does. Kenny uses
Don't be silly.
Kenny uses trading cards as currency.
Yes.
And it works.
I have the action figure with the fist with the, you know, that little needle that comes out of his fist. He unlocks the computer. Never mind.
These aren't the droids you're looking for. Now it is time for your questions, a little segment we like to call Ask Kevin.
Ask Kevin.
Thank you. There's a K in that. She did not say Ask Kevin. This first one is from Cal. Kevin, is there any way to buy the audio archives of your podcast outside of the U.S.? Well, the iTunes is currently set to international territories. We should throw up that screenshot as well, just to prove we're not lying. Simon from Australia wants to know. Oh, he's the next question. We hear from the UK that they're able to get them all right. We're hearing some complaints from Australia. And I think most recently somebody in Germany said, hey, what the hell? So we've got the thisweekend.com team looking into this. Mark Jeffrey in particular, because we do know the iTunes setting is for international, every country that's been great fans, including Irish. now have access to all of it, or so I'm being told. So we're just reconfirming. There it is. Where does it say the international setting? Oh, it just shows all the countries. There, you idiot. Got it. And sure enough, Germany and Australia are both green. So I believe get off my jock is where I'm going. Next question, Simon from Australia writes, "Good day, Kevin." No, he didn't. "I have a mystery for you to solve." All right. Waiting. All right, so on your show, I'm going to do this as Peter Fox Colombo. When you speak to Jamie or Sam, you turn to look to your right, to the left of our screen. Then, when they are speaking back to you, they're also looking to their right, to the left of our screen. I've been trying to figure out how the hell that's possible. What shape is the room you are working in? Is there a fourth dimension? Are you reversing the video stream from Sam and Jamie? Yes, no, yes, yes, no. From Gary, no. Well, you know, it's pretty simple. I guess we're crossing the medium. Yeah, my camera is to the left. Your camera is also to the left, your face left. So we're not crossing the medium. The hell is your problem?
What's this about crossing streams? I wasn't paying attention. I thought we weren't supposed to.
We are crossing the line. We're crossing the line on purpose because the room is square. We're crossing the line on purpose because it's not a film. I think that's the reason we're crossing the line, because it's not a film, and we don't care about these things. No, they're over in the corner of a square, the upper right-hand corner from where I'm sitting, and I'm across from them, and there's no real mystery here other than the way our cameras are set up. So the cameras are to your right, your left. Oh God, exactly. Sleep take.
Yeah,
100%.
seriously, sleep take.
Yeah, so there's the puzzle. It's not a puzzle. This one from Gary Music Miller. "Kevin, terrific interview on Shatner's Raw Nerve. Everyone should DVR it. No mention made of your terrific William Shatner impersonation, however." Yeah, you know, it's weird. I've been basically mocking William Shatner's insane thing from the Star Trek television series for over 25 years. And we became friends, and then he asked me to be on the Raw Nerve, and so I thought it would come up. And so when he doesn't introduce it into the conversation, and it's his show, it seemed almost impolite of me to say, "I'm sorry, you're not going to ask me about the impersonation I've been doing of you for 25 years? Because it's in your book." Anywho, I chose not to, out of respect and politeness, bring it up myself. And then he, of course, did not bring it up. And I think it was sort of, I read into it anyways, wrapping my brain around it, that he was kind of saying, we don't need to keep talking about this, do we? Let's just talk about you and your life, and there you go. So, although I'm hearing a lot of great feedback from people who saw the Raw Nerve thing, and he's really, really good. I saw the Regis Philbin interview, and he got Regis to talk about stuff that Regis had clearly never talked about before, so kudos all around on that one. I had a good time. And yeah, DVR it, why not? And apparently you can see it online as well. This last thing here, before we get to our guest, we're just 17 minutes away from our guest, by the way. I think it's a joke. But 4 minutes away from Kettle One. Is something that we like to give away T-shirts to our viewers. Kevin Pollak Chat Show T-shirt. And that is if you offer us up your own Larry King game. For our guest today, I will go over the rules again. The Larry King game is quite simple. That reminds me, I have to call Larry to come on the show, because I mentioned it last week, and then the whole week went by, I didn't call him. I ran into Larry. We have an opportunity for it to be one of the signs of the apocalypse, I think, would be Larry here doing the Larry King game.
I want him to storm out.
And then storm. Oh, we're going to show the montage of everyone doing it.
Right.
And then he storms out. Yeah.
Because Billy Bob, I wanted him to storm out. I wanted him to like go a little crazy and then just storm out, and it didn't happen. He was normal.
We plied him with Bud
normal.
Light. Yeah.
Yeah.
We kept him in his chair with a case.
On ice. We had like a cooler. That was awesome.
We did have a cooler.
We're going way off the topic.
So, Larry King game. We're looking for that moment that Larry loses his shit on the air and shares something about himself that, whoa, too much information. It's the too much information moment. So Jeff Ler, L-E-R-E-R, Ler, no way you took shit about that. over the course of your life, Jeff. By the way, just to add a little bit of insult, he's spelling Jeff Geoff.
Oh no, it's a lot of trouble.
Ass beaten, ass beaten. Offered up this Larry King game. Again, rules, bad Larry King impression. Bad, don't want good.
Oh, good.
Bad Larry King impression. Too much information moment, and then go to the phones, name of the city, funny sounding, helpful. 1979 in a motel in Everglades, Tommy Lasorda and I invented the Blumpkin. Medicine Hat, Alberta, go. I don't know what a Blumpkin is, but it made me laugh. They invented the Blumpkin. It's got to be sexual. It has to be. Oh, Larry King and Tom Lasorda being sexual. Love it. Blumpkin. All right, so thank you, Jeff, because that's how you spell it, very much. I am so excited. Oh, gotta mention this. Thank goodness. I almost let it go by. In case you're wondering, hey, Kev, you wear a lot of chapeaus on the show, if not every single week. Every now and then, an especially gorgeous one. This handmade beauty comes to us from the Gorin brothers. That's right, Gorin brothers. Originally from my hometown of San Francisco, they got a lovely store here in the LA area on Melrose. And check the interwebs for any information you may want on the Gorin brothers. It's handmade and it's stunning and gorgeous and made out of really nice. Get yourself one. Thank you, Gorin brothers, for this lovely chapeau. So my guest. So we met through mutual friends, and I was already a fan. And then there's that weird thing, as I've expressed to people who ask, how do you get all the people on the show? Because I've mentioned in the past that this is show 102, and I've yet to talk to a publicist, agent, or manager. And I don't have 102 friends. So at some point you do have to go through. But every now and then I'll meet somebody in a social situation, and I'll say, I should head him up to be on the show. And then, I don't want to be a nudge. I don't want to be a bother. And then every now and then a little tiny door will be opened up, and they'll say, well, if you really want to, just, ask. So because I was such a big fan of her work, I was exceptionally pleased to have the opportunity. And if I may, we don't get enough of the fantastic, interesting, and talented women on the show. There, I said it. Please
Because they don't want to compete
Graham.
with me.
They don't like to compete with Jamie. There it is for the slam dunk. Please welcome Lauren Graham. Hi, hon.
Hi.
Hey,
Thanks.
First of all,
A smattering of holiday applause.
Yeah, we like to keep the audience outside.
So do I.
Right?
Pesky. Annoying.
Although, not to start things right off, but when Jamie and I went to the Broadway, yeah, we were in the audience one night.
Oh, you were?
You were Jim fucking Dandy.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that was your Broadway debut, according
Yes.
to your dossier.
That is true.
Yeah, but you studied theater all through school.
I
So
did.
it was kind of odd that it hadn't come up before.
Well, it didn't. I didn't get those jobs.
Right.
And
But you also didn't audition for them, did you?
well, I started in New York, and I was working in a comedy club, like as a waitress. Like I didn't have any access to anything. And then when I started getting work, it was commercials and kind of television happened more quickly. And then I moved to LA. So it took that long to. I had done a summer in Williamstown. Like
Sure.
it was always my.
And you did summer stock.
I did summer stock with Tom Wopat.
Hello. Do you mean the Tom Wopat?
I do.
Or a Tom Wopat?
He's Luke. Is he Luke Duke or he's the other?
He's
one?
Brunette Duke.
Yeah,
That's what
he's
he
the
is.
one with the dark hair. And so no, it just kind of took that long. And the great thing about working in film and television is then by the time your theater break comes around, all the pressure's on you. And like there's no kind of like sneaking in and doing a show. It's sort of like it was a big revival and a lot of money riding on it, and we did okay, but it was an amazing. It was a childhood dream come true in that most of your childhood dreams, should they ever come true, will be disappointing and flawed. Yeah. Because there's no way you could know, as a kid. How disappointing and flawed life is, and so
you just have dreams.
Yeah, and so, but it was also incredibly gratifying and really
had to have been,
and really exhausting and totally humbling, and and strangely exhilarating, and I would do it again for sure.
Right.
And I became very good friends with Oliver Platt, who you should have on the show, who's just a gem of a human being, and Craig Bierko, who's already your friend. Is he not?
We had him on the show in New York.
I bet.
Yeah.
Oh, in New York?
Yeah.
Oh, nice. He does a good Richard Kind.
He does a very good Richard Kind. He was also, if I may, a revelation in that particular production.
Yeah.
The tremendous pressure on all three of you,
Yeah.
Ollie as well, doing roles that have been done by such ridiculously famous people in the
Yeah.
past, is, I guess you just have to cut that out of the equation.
I didn't think about it.
Right?
That to me is not helpful. It's like when I first got Gilmore Girls and I was, 30 or something, and people were like, "You're too young to be a mom. Don't do that." And I thought that's like the last thing that is. I just don't think like that. Probably to my own detriment. I thought, it's been 15 years since the last revival, which I learned in New York is actually not a long time.
Not at all.
If it was something that people really loved. But that's no reason not to do it. It's like no reason not to. It was my own. I was very afraid, and that's also not a reason to do things. Like you always hear actors being like, "If it doesn't scare you, it's not a good idea." But it's also not the reason to do something, But
I find that wildly pretentious.
yeah, it's pretentious. So, but it was just something I wanted to do, and I had the time to do it. And I had spent so many years being locked in a TV schedule that
Exactly.
I sort of felt like, when am I ever going to have this chance again? And it was something that, because I'm a singer of a kind, but I can't, it was something I felt I could, that I just really loved and I really wanted to do.
Other than scheduling, I don't see any possible reason to not do that show, that experience, that everything.
I think, I had friends in New York at the time who, there is a funny thing there sometimes where before something has happened, maybe there's a community that has already decided how it's going to go.
Right.
And in terms of goodwill, there was resistance to the idea, according to the theater friends, you
Sure.
know. And I really believed that it was just such a beautiful show and so worth doing that we could turn that resistance around, which, it was a success of a kind. It's just in this day, something has to just last forever for everybody to make their money back.
Yeah, oh no, I find these experiences to be far too gigantic to be result-oriented, result-driven.
Yeah.
Let the financiers worry about those
Right.
results. The truth is that the pressure was not on you as an individual to sell the tickets necessary. It was on the show, it was
Yeah.
on the group cast, or the three leads. But in a big sense, we have to remove ourselves from that.
And I did. And I'll say,
Scenario.
just to really bring us all the way down, but the vodka's coming, so we'll be okay. I had a real breakthrough as an actor. So,
Must have.
Pull up your pillow, because this is going to be a boring story. But I had a breakthrough as an actor in not trying so hard to please. The name of the game is to be an entertainer, and it's not about you and your experience, and it's not about the stupid pressure that you feel or anything.
Right.
It's and all that focus on any of that makes you just a crummy entertainer. And it was about every day meeting that group of people where they were that day, which was sometimes and it really is, it becomes, as you know, it's one person in a way,
Yeah.
It's our person's kind of cranky tonight, our person didn't like the rain, the audience just becomes this one kind of person you're trying to woo in a way and have a good date with,
Right.
and
Hadn't heard it put that way, but that's pretty damn articulate.
and
Seriously.
it took me out of myself. Eventually, in the beginning, I was like, this person doesn't like me. I don't think they're going to call me again. Or whatever. It was like that, following that model. And then eventually I was like, it doesn't matter. It's my connection. I'm going to enjoy this story and, give this experience as positive sort of effort as I can. And it was a really big deal because then you're free in a way. And then, of course, that happened after the really important weeks where, the important people came. But it
But
was
did you
really a
guys
big
talk
deal.
about this during rehearsal?
Well, I became dear friends with Oliver Platt, and we both had our own sort of challenges, and I had never done, besides my triumphant 6 nights as Dolly and Hello Dolly.
Yeah,
at
6
Langley
nights?
High School. 2 weekends.
Nice.
And then something similar at Williamstown, where you do like a couple weeks. I had never done something more than the same, performance more than a handful of times, and that is a just really unique experience. And I don't even know how many we did, over 100. And you go into kind of a how do you keep that alive? You can only kind of know when you're there. But yeah, we talked about it, and it became kind of a thing. Every night I'd be like, I think I'm okay. We're having a good time. It's going okay. I mean, it really was like a blind date every night.
But it's a shared experience for you and the cast. Mm-hmm. As it's happening, mm-hmm. you can look at each other in a scene mm-hmm. while you're performing the hell out of that scene. Yeah. You can still make a mental connection that says, they're assholes tonight. Is it just me? You know what I mean? Just by looking at each other.
Yeah, well...
Those sort of things happen,
yes.
I would imagine.
Yes. Well, and there were some... What was curious even more than that to me... Well, first of all, kind of from the minute you come out, that's where you feel what it is going to be, and maybe what your challenges of the evening are going to be, and then we'd sort of go back and re-strategize accordingly, because there were nights where, even for this big, beautiful musical comedy, it just sort of felt like the heart of it was more important in a way than, it wasn't some of these jokes are really out of time anymore, and it wasn't necessarily going to be the laugh riot it may have been, in the 50s. So, and we tried to really bring some humanity to it. And then some nights it would be like, that humanity's so boring. We should really be funnier. And, so we just sort of played with that. And there were some scenes, and this is such well-written material that has absolutely stood the test of time. And there were a couple of things and a couple of moments that I don't really think I ever cracked. And that to me was as kind of amazing as anything. Like, what puzzle is this? It's not even, dense language. It's simple in a way, but it was hard.
But also, like you said, there's a sense of performance nuance that there's just going to be certain moments throughout the show that you're going to feel like, I still haven't cracked that.
Well, and sometimes, it's not putting it on anyone else, but sometimes there's a technical reason. We were in a very unusual space. It was very tall. And sometimes, I'd hear from people like, we couldn't see you then because it was this old theater. It used to be a burlesque theater. And I don't know what the girls were doing, swinging off the, ceiling, but it was very vertical.
Shall I tell you? Shall I tell you what they were doing?
What were they doing in the 50s, Kevin?
Something dangerous.
But with all their clothes on.
No, yeah. And a fire hazard.
And so, sometimes it was like you were on a little piece of scenery that had to move, and therefore you have to get up on it at a certain time so that you can move off with. I mean, sometimes it's some strange technical thing. Right. And sometimes you're just sucking,
Yeah. Sure. Well, also, from my background is not in theater at all. I came from stand-up comedy, so all of my live audience experiences come from just me talking. Mm-hmm. So it's exceptionally rare that I've had any sort of shared live community on stage, other than my few sitcom experiences. Mm-hmm. But what I do know and can relate to is once you've had that great audience, then in terms of how it's going each night, unfortunately, there's a place in your brain that only compares it to that one great show.
And tries to get back what you felt you had that night that made that work, removing the element of it was just a good crowd,
It is lightning in a bottle.
Yeah.
And so then it becomes, I would think, more about the shared experience of what you're doing as a cast.
Well, it was a shared experience in that I hadn't been part of such a big ensemble like that again in a long time, and I felt just an incredible respect for the people who do the work that is, those dancers who kill themselves and have to keep their bodies looking amazing and get injured all the time. And anytime I sort of felt complainy, I would just think, that once upon a time had been my dream. I just wanted to be in the ensemble of something. I wanted to be in a theater company somewhere, and so you're reminded all the time of how fortunate you are, really. And and I don't know, so that part of it was really fun. And I would say, too, I'm kind of a loose, like, I don't usually do something the same way twice,
Right.
and, you know, I'm not super technical, and it really forced me to, if you're going to change the nuance of something, you may lose the moment. You know, it's lightning in a bottle, but it's also like you have to really be incredibly precise in acting, I think, in general. But there's
Rehearse your
way
ad-libs.
more. Yeah, there's way more room in certain, you know, filmed media because you're the mercy of someone else is going to maybe change it anyway. And this was like, you know, I had to go through a couple weeks of like, I'll just play with this tonight, ugh, you know, like, and that didn't work. And like coming back to the language really has a music, and
Right.
and it's telling you how to play it, like, you know, any Shakespeare or anything. And if it's well written, you don't need to really mess with it. And if you do, you're going to screw it up.
Yeah. Did you study the Shakespeare in your?
I did in
Yeah,
my
yeah,
time in the Masters of Fine
Your
Arts
master's
program.
in Texas.
Texas, where
South-
all the wonderful Shakespearean actors go.
Yeah, I wanted to ask.
Why did you go there?
I wanted to ask quickly. Barnard College.
Yeah.
And then Southern Methodist.
Well, I was an English major at Barnard. I wanted to be in New York City, but I'm from an academic family, and I couldn't quite. I tried going to acting school for a year at 17. I was 17 when I went to college. And it was just too many. So I went to NYU my freshman year. I was 17. I'm an only child, and for the first time in my life, I'm sharing a room with two other people. I'm rolling around on a floor going, meow, and like doing other, and I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what's going on here. This is a completely bizarre
Yeah, it must have been.
experience. And so I thought I need, you know, to do something more familiar to me, which is you know, study in a more traditional way. And so I went there, and then I got out of college, and I was a cocktail waitress at the Improv, which meant that after a time, and it's still something that's a terrible trait, but I can watch any very funny comedy and just go, that's funny, instead of laugh. It's awful. Do you do that?
It was a cocktail waitress at the Improv in New York.
Sorry, I was just in Pittsburgh. I was just the one in
Jamie's
Pittsburgh.
not listening.
No, she was a cocktail waitress at the Improv in Pittsburgh.
I was a cocktail waitress at the Improv in also Chicago.
There you go.
Yeah. And does it make you a bad laugher, though? Do you not laugh?
No, I don't think. I was always so busy, I wasn't really paying attention.
No, that's
to
the
show.
thing.
That's the
And if you
thing.
really tune in to listen to whoever's performing, you're going to drop your drink. So, like, you have to kind of, you know, keep a... But that was an interesting time, too, because some amazing people went through there, and you
Sure.
would see them die or live every night, and you would see the same material over and over and over. David Tell worked the door there then. Do you know him? Mm-hmm. And it's just, I have had always such a love of comics. It's a very sick love.
Yeah.
It never works out well.
Never works out well.
They're so depressed.
Interesting.
They're in so much pain.
Yeah, I missed that whole thing, and it's probably
Yeah.
because I wasn't from the New York City. I was from the
Right.
other side of the country, where, or just the different kind of family upbringing, where
Yeah.
where the depressed, self-loathing Jew was just not anywhere near the Jews I grew up around. It wasn't until I met New York Jews that I thought, "What's your problem?" It's so weird, and I don't know that it's a California, New York Jew thing.
Yeah.
But
wait, so do you know happy comedians who are well-adjusted?
Looking at one.
Good job.
No, I mean,
Yeah.
there are other guys that I kind of came up with who didn't have to be self-loathing
Yeah.
in order to be funny.
Yeah.
They could be self-involved and
Yeah.
narcissistic as hell. How are you? Let me just tweet now. But the self-loathing thing wasn't part and parcel.
And I don't know that was, you know, I don't know how many of them truly hated themselves, but I know that as a community, different from actors, it was much more
Competitive.
competitive, but self-deprecating and more like heart on the sleeve kind of. I just love that
Yeah.
culture, and it's going to kind
It's
of
the high
goes
wire.
into the like talk show world of, you know, I don't know.
Yeah, well, they're always on the high wire when they perform. I mentioned the solo aspect of it. And so when you live and die by your own wits on stage, moment by moment, and an audience can turn on you after being in love with you for 45 minutes, and then suddenly you've lost them. So that whole aspect of one's life and job is about as ridiculous and wrong as any performing art should be.
Yeah.
So you do get a lot of very insecure, offstage kind of personalities.
Plus, it was sort of the end-ish, but still in that time of comedy being a really popular.
Late 80s, early 90s?
Yeah, you know, and
the gold rush, we called it.
It was the gold rush of comedy. Dun, dun, dun.
No,
Come on in.
Not even Grey Goose.
Listen, this is what happened. Not even Grey Goose. Stoli. This is
Well,
what
there goes
happened.
there as a sponsor.
It was good enough for Bing Crosby.
Hey, Harry, Nathaniel, hurry, boys, with that Stoli tonight.
Should I tell the story of why we're getting a vodka delivery?
Yeah,
So,
sure.
come on in. Yeah,
Come
you
on
should
in,
just
this
come
way.
on in.
This way.
Look, it's special guest stars.
Yeah, over here. You won't be Mike, so try not to talk.
But do something funny with your body.
Yeah. Perfect and well done. Wait a second. Now
Wait,
we're
there's 3
bartenders? Where are you
glasses.
going?
If I made it strong enough for me.
Oh! Get back
So-
in here.
How many stories did you tell today where the guests were drinking? You were like, and then Billy Bob came in, and boy, was he a barrel of laughs, and he had
No, first of all,
25 beers.
I've mentioned it many times that Seth MacFarlane, God bless him, sat here and drank a bottle of Jack Daniels over
Holy
2
crap.
hours.
And was he funnier at the beginning or at the end or never?
Well, as a true
or
drinker,
all
it didn't
away?
really adjust
Right.
his personality at all.
Right.
No, and you know, I always tried to remember, and clearly I didn't, in an email saying, if there's any sort of liquid that you would like on hand, please let me
God.
know. And so in the case of Billy Bob, his friend said, you know, he does like the Bud Light. And I remembered every time I'd been to his house, sure enough, it was on like a robotic arm.
Thank you. Wow.
Bud Light. And then, so who else? When Dana Carvey was here, he loves the beer, so we were drinking Yinling, I think, that day with Dana Carvey because there was some sort of Penguin game.
That was because that was back in when the Penguins. Was that the
Yeah,
year that
2
we
years
won
ago.
the Stanley Cup. Yeah, we won the Stanley Cup that year.
Yeah.
It was a Canada thing. This is going great. You're doing a wonderful job. Thank you so much. That's
a
a
lot of
giant
vodka.
amount of vodka.
That's
For the host.
Jesus H.W. Christ.
I don't want that much vodka.
Oh my God.
No, she doesn't.
This isn't the Eagles.
All right, now you can take it all with you. Take away the apparatus.
Take away the whole thing?
Josh, come in here and help.
What about
bearing.
me?
Oh yeah,
Coming over to you.
That's, you know, she's right. Let's make Jamie.
All
Sorry,
right,
my bad.
thank
So let me segue slowly, but ever so not so delicately,
Just talk over the ice clinking.
to a question from a mutual friend. A couple of questions came in from. I'm not going to say which mutual friend yet
Okay.
for the viewers, but they might know immediately, based on question 1. Other than Matthew Perry, who have you enjoyed working with?
God, who could that be from?
You guys work together on.
We worked together on a movie called Birds of America. Thank
That's
you.
right. The one that everyone remembers.
The one that everyone saw. No,
Yeah.
not that one.
That was one of those things where you work and it's great fun and it's amazing, and then people say, "Yeah, it's going to be."
And then you go to Sundance and get like a free hat. No, actually, the first time we worked together was on Studio 60.
Right. That's what I thought.
Where I played myself, which I've had sort of a funny or whatever list of career things that I want, that I thought would be impossible when I first started, and Celebrity
yourself?
Jeopardy was one of them. Various talk shows such as Letterman. And,
Did you do Celebrity Jeopardy?
I did.
And?
I came in a very close second to Chris Matthews, who killed me in things like opera, and also, and I really enjoyed him. But he did yell out a lot of the answers, and they would sort of ask him to ring in, but then he'd already kind of gotten it. And I'm not saying he cheated, but
I think you are.
no, I'm
Only
not.
because he did. You're not.
Well, it was just so fun. He's a giant man, you
Yeah.
know, and he'd be like, "Ah!" and he'd just like yell the thing out.
That's
and,
not like his personality at all. I don't know what
right.
you're talking about.
I have too many beverages.
Yes, you do.
think?
Give me the coffee,
Okay.
unless you want a speedball.
No.
I'm not sure you're going to
It's
need the
okay.
coffee anymore.
This was just water.
Yep.
but I don't want to lose the Kevin
No,
mug
you keep the water.
because it
Keep the
looks so much like you. And with your like jaunty curl like on your forehead, like, you know.
Yeah, if not for the hat, you would see the jaunty curl. So you worked
Okay.
with Matthew on the Studio 60 and
Yeah.
then on the Coming to America, which I don't remember
Birds
you
in
being
America. Birds in America.
in. Were you at
Birds in
Arsenio
America,
Hall?
which they're playing on the chairs. Thank you.
Here's to you, darling.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, I mean, I'm Irish. Come on.
Ooh, that's good.
Oh my God. Yeah, so I played his wife in this really lovely independent film, Birds of America, that nobody saw.
Can people see it on the Netflix or the DVD?
Yeah,
Sure.
and it's out on the cable right now too.
Because I remember him talking about it like, this is really special.
it. It is special, and he's so good in it. It was
Jennifer with a G?
Jennifer Goodwin is
Yeah.
in it, and Ben Foster.
Ben Foster. Love Ben Foster.
Yeah, so it just is it's like a quiet story that, I don't know, it's hard for those to find their way, but having known him already at that time for a long time,
Sure.
I was really impressed with how he approached this work, which, I don't know, it to me wasn't like anything I'd seen him do, and
We're still talking about Matthew Perry.
we're going to talk about him for a long time, because apparently he had another
no.
question. And
I just wanted to reiterate for the people who might have just joined us.
and he was really good.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and
Well,
it was fun to...
I'm glad we covered the fun part first.
Oh, now it's going to be...
Because question 2 from Matthew. Apparently he used to call you on occasion to mention how much he couldn't believe that you and your daughter were late for the town meeting.
Matthew watched, I think, probably 30 seconds, just, to be a good friend.
Sure.
Of the Gilmore program, and from then on, for years and years and years, he would pretend like that had come up again in an episode, which, not shockingly, actually one of the things he saw did, which is that we were often late to the town meeting, and so. I don't know. It's really it can't be any funnier than that, than the fact that he would call me and he'd be like, "So, you and that Rory, better hurry. Town meeting starting any minute." We're always like running across the
He told me that he would call and say that he couldn't believe you were late again. That's what made me laugh
That's
so
true.
hard.
That's better.
How could
like
you
he
be
was
late
concerned
again?
and worried. Yeah. Oh my God.
Why don't you and your daughter care enough as Gilmores
Yeah, I know.
to
As
actually
the
get
girls.
to the damn meeting on time?
I don't know. Oh God, that makes me laugh. There was another thing where where somebody was fixing the roof, and for a long time he'd be like, "Now, are you still up on the roof? Because you should come down. It's cold up there." But so yeah, that's the Gilmore Girls program's over. God, he loved that show.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
he just couldn't,
Every time he caught
couldn't
30
get
seconds of
enough.
it, he'd had enough. That's how much he loved it.
Yeah.
Well,
Oh my God.
But so let's talk about the sort of wonderful moment that then became many years. But that wonderful moment after coming up through television the way so many of us and others do, which is you're on this show. First, it's a pilot. Is the pilot going to even get a time slot that anyone's going to care about? So we've talked about it on this show before with other people, but it's almost become like winning the lottery, to actually all the elements to line up in a show to have a chance to have a life. Mm-hmm. So I think going through your dossier, by the time you got to Gilmore Girls, it was one of these things where you had probably had enough experience, you definitely had enough experience, so that you couldn't get emotionally involved right away. Did you have that protective layer at first, maybe during a pilot process, was like, I love you, and I love the crew, and I love everyone, and this is a great experience, but I can't put it all out, I can't allow my heart to get broken again, kind of thing?
I would say I'm like that to this day.
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't until we were deep into
Season 5.
exactly, actually, that I thought, oh, this is, on longer than most things.
Well, that was kind of what my question was leading to, which is, at what point do you allow yourself to not be result-oriented, as we talked about in theater, your theater experience, but rather because you're right, year after year, certainly the first year is a success, the second year is more of a success, but still, there's never really ever a moment until you're at the wrap party in year 7 that you went, wow, that was a show, we did a series.
Well, you have to stay like that. And also on, a smaller network like the WB. I mean, during that time, we changed networks.
Which one? I'm sorry, it sounded like you said the WB.
We went from the WB to it became a completely other network. And many shows were lost in that transfer. And every year, had what else was happening in television not been going on, we may not have stayed any of that time. Had we not started Thursday night opposite Friends,
sure,
we may not have lasted because they expected absolutely nothing from us, and that's pretty much what we delivered until the sort of like fan base, caught on. So many things. I do remember one day in the second season, Peter Roth, who is still head of Warner Brothers Television, came by with like some other muckety muck, and I was like, well, that's never happened before. Like no one ever came by to visit the trailer to just say hi, And I thought, I wonder if this show is important to him. But I'm so unfocused on that stuff that I didn't get it. But I would say in year like 5 or something, then you start getting into the numbers game of, well, if they've gotten this far, they've renegotiated a contract once or twice, they'll keep us through.
Sure.
Then you sort of get maybe you have a year of work in the coming year, but that's not much. We just all start to like get used to that, and then it was really shocking when the show ended, not to have that structure, which I'd gone my whole life. We all go our whole lives in this career having no structure, and kind of there's got to be part of you that likes that, or you wouldn't be able to take it.
You like it, and then you get it, the structure as you did for 7 years, and then it becomes an extended family, and 14-hour, 15-hour days, you're obviously spending more time with the work family than you are with your own. And I think it's just organic and part and parcel that it becomes so much structure that you get lulled into a sort of peaceful place of protectiveness and security, and that's, I think, more emotional than career.
Well, I think you get, it is a rare thing to know you can pay your mortgage. It's stuff like that. You get sort of attached to that, and that show was also for how happy and buoyant sort of the story was, and had these elements of kind of fantasy and wish fulfillment. It was a grind, technically, to do, and it was a writer like an Aaron Sorkin who wanted every word as written. And there'd be these long speeches, and so we'd do those long speeches over and over until they were, perfect. And that
is a grind.
It was just hard. It was just hard. But, it meant that our days were 14, 16 hours every day for 7 years, and that changes everything. That changes your health and your sense of what a day is, and
relationships.
And so it's so many things when something like that comes to a close. There is the part of it that you but how can I live without it? Well, what will I do? And and then there's all this freedom, and a little bit of a relief, which I always feel terrible saying because the show ended in kind of a funky way, and a lot of people weren't happy with the end, and I feel responsible for. I wish that had been a gratifying experience for the people who stuck with us all that time, but it was. We didn't have our creator by the end last year, and the tone had changed, and so in that way it wasn't the same show we started with, and it was a relief to be done. But then it's a very strange, and I assume I won't probably have another run that long. This show we're doing Parenthood could go for a while, but I think it's just still built in that you just assume it could also always just end.
Yeah, and it's by very virtue of the elements, it's a completely and utterly different cast experience, Parenthood.
Yeah.
So even if it, God willing, runs 7 years, it'll be a considerably different experience, workload and everything else. And because I imagine an ensemble as big as Parenthood, you're only having to work 2-3 days a week as opposed to.
Yeah, and I remember when Callista Flockhart ended on Ally McBeal, and then she did Brothers and Sisters, this ensemble show, and I was like, that's so crazy. She could do her own thing, and I did, and would again try to do what Matthew's done and, you know, be part of developing a show, and didn't get picked up. But part of the concern and interest, which is an older person's thing, frankly, was I can't physically do that again, and it would not benefit, no matter, you know, it's sort of like the career takes its place in a way, you know, it's very important to me, but there's just certain ways I just don't want to work anymore.
Well, the word balance starts to come into your life in your late 30s, and you start to think of, if there's a way to balance these two, I need to figure that out.
Because it can be a career that, never mind how many hours in a day you're working, you can, especially living here, everywhere you go, it's like a billboard, a thing, an old boyfriend up there, like, you know, you can never escape it if you live that way, and if you get in that world of like, who's getting what and who's going where, and, you know, it can be just a real
Isn't that a fun thing to
suck.
leave behind, by the way? Isn't that great when you finally get to a point where you're slowly removing those thoughts?
Yeah.
Yeah, because the only way to survive initially is to be aware of those things, to be on your game, to have your finger on the pulse, blah, blah, blah. But it becomes, and if you have any competitiveness in you in a sports kind of way, even coming up, I know you were a bit of a tomboy as a kid, then it's also kind of at times an energizing game to play.
I would think, I mean, for years, I probably slept like 4 or 5 hours a night when I was doing that show. I was like in the adrenaline of all the stuff that was happening and all the work I had to do. It was really energizing, actually, and I loved the verbal kind of, you know, nature of that show, and how
the banter was pretty amazing.
Yeah, and it was really well written, and it was something that I like and had a taste for, and you know, can memorize quickly, and all these things became sort of like a badge of honor of like, this is something that's so fulfilling, you know. And then,
but how many years before you actually felt like you were present? How many seasons before you, or was that fairly early?
What do you mean, present in the experience of what was happening? I still couldn't tell you. I mean, you know, because of my fear of the internet.
Which we're going to get to. We're going to get to that next, actually. I'm fascinated by your fear of the internet.
I would say, you know, you can't believe how naive I have been and continue to be about certain aspects of show business. It's like I don't learn from the experiences because I really don't get I don't have a great objective sense of what's, you know, happening, and so
well, probably you're learning more from life than career.
I don't know. I don't,
because there's no rhyme or reason to what we're doing professionally. There's no justice. There's no fairness. There's no any of that. There's no, if you're a good person, this will happen. Those rules don't apply.
And there's not necessarily, I mean, I've seen some talented people, you know, not catch their shot.
Absolutely.
And I've seen, you know, I mean, we've seen all kinds of things, and I would say
bad behavior being rewarded. Is Charlie Sheen on the phone?
And I would say, actually, I came in with so much fearlessness based on absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
Because I would say it was not a high self-esteem. It just was like some kind of ambition and fearlessness is the only way I can say it, because now there are things that I did back then, and funny auditions, and I was like, I don't know what to do with this. I'll just do a voice. Like, you know, just choices I would make out of pure kind of like, I wanted to make it interesting for myself. And now sometimes it's more like, I'm like, oh, they'll probably hire blah, blah. Like, the more you know, almost it can open you up in a negative way.
Take away the bravery and the
take away the
playfulness.
fun of it.
Yeah.
So it's like, I don't know. What was your question? Was I in it? I think I was very present in the beginning, and I would say in the last couple of years, I felt like the story kind of lost its way, and so it started being a little harder to tell, I would say.
Right.
There's an episode where, like, somebody, and I don't know what year this is, but someone dives into a giant pizza.
Of course they do.
And it's not meant to be a fake pizza, it's meant to be a real pizza. And I would just always remember that as the feeling of, like, I don't know what's happening here anymore. I've lost the, like, you know, the show changed so much from the beginning. It was much more realistic, and then it got sort of more fanciful, and it was awesome at every turn. But I remember, you know.
You still have to connect to it at some point, and when you're not connecting, you have to question what the hell happened.
But it's your job to always,
Make sense of?
Yeah.
Sure. We like to involve our live audience
Okay.
whenever possible. I ask ahead of time for some questions on Twitter. And our social media executive, Elaine Ewing, handles the Facebook questions as well. We're completely covered on the interwebs as much as you fear it. This question, in fact, came from the Facebook. Taylor Heigl wants to know, Lauren Graham is pretty much a legend at Langley High School.
Oh,
As
yay.
former Langley students, my friends and I are wondering what she was like in high school. We were also curious if she ever had Ms. Lavey as a teacher, Lavey.
I don't think so.
Okay.
I would say I was a bunch of different things in high school. I did theater in high school. I 1 year was on the drill team.
I'll say.
I was a Langley. I was a Langley Saxonette, which even at the time I was like, I don't know I had a vision of like, that's something you should do in high school is like wear a little skirt and like get on the bus in your like saddle shoes or something. So even then it felt like sort of an acting job or something, but
Kenny, you all right?
but it was something I wanted to do. And then I was friends with a lot of the guys who then would have been called the geeky guys,
Sure.
but who, of course, are all handsome and talented and turned into like, the people who you would not call that anymore. And I had sort of like cool girl friends, and years later, like the two groups kind of came together and became friends. And so,
well, the geek shall
Sure.
inherit the earth,
That's
and
what
they're
I said.
doing so now. So of course they're
Yeah.
getting the drill squad.
the drill team, the
No,
drill
no.
squad.
That's what the guys called it. The guys
right.
called it the drill squad.
Right. But I was awkward. I mean, I will say, like, for all the sort of social-ish things I did, I felt awkward. Like,
Does
all
anyone
the time.
not feel awkward in high school?
I feel like there were some people who didn't as
Really?
much as.
I think they were faking, or they were able to cover it better.
I remember these girls in particular. I don't know. There's some people I think who have confidence through difficult times. I really do.
I think those people are oblivious. I
That
think
maybe.
ignorance is bliss.
Yeah.
And I think because I agree with you, there are people who came off as very confident in
Yeah.
school, and I thought, I don't think they know what's going on.
Right.
Yeah, I don't think they know that there's actually pressure to be had here because we're formulating our experiences into security
Yeah.
at this age. And if you know what's going on, you couldn't be secure, could you?
I don't know. Or did they just figure out how to?
That none of it mattered?
Yeah, but that's confidence too. That's just having a sense of yourself in time and enjoying yourself. I think there were people who were having a better time. I was like worrying about, I don't know. I was just like worried about school and there were people who had more ease, it seemed to me.
No question. Well, on the drill team, did you come across any mean girls?
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
You don't have to name them. Another thing we do here at the show in the form of questions from the viewers
Yes.
is a rapid fire this or that Coke or Pepsi, and there's 5 of them.
Okay.
And they're called, thanks to Dave Keckner, Tweet 5. T5, T5, T5 forever now.
Why is it forever?
Yeah, exactly.
Why?
David
I did a
Keckner
movie with
decided-
Dave Keckner where we were on a bus going through the South. It was like a mock documentary, and he's a funny
God,
dude,
it's
ridiculous.
right?
Yeah,
He sat here and we didn't know where we were at one point.
yeah,
We thought we'd gone to a different place.
yeah.
We thought we'd gone to Kecknerville.
Yeah.
And in fact, we had, thankfully. This Tweet 5 comes from Facebook. Is that scientifically possible? That Tweet 5? That must be a book 5. Again, rapid fire, no correct
Okay.
answer. Television or plays?
Oh God, television, I guess.
East Coast, West Coast?
East.
Chocolate or Mike and Ike's?
Chocolate.
Kissing Billy Bob Thornton or Scott Patterson?
Oh God.
Right?
Oh man.
Not supposed to be easy.
I mean, BBT, man. He was, you know.
That is the correct answer.
Right.
Nothing
Okay.
else.
Okay.
Sorkin or Sherman Palladino?
Oh, Palladino. You got it.
Right?
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah.
What are you talking
These
about?
are these are designed to ruin your life.
Yes,
basically.
they are. That's exactly right. Because Sorkin, of course, is watching this with the Oscars tonight.
Exactly.
That's what he's doing. He's sitting in front of his. She better not say.
And he's like,
fucking
those
thing.
3 days on Studio 60 didn't stay with her longer than 7 years of Gilmore Girls. I would love to. It'll never happen now because he's just going to go off and do more films. But I wish he would do another TV show because
He is
it's like
for
the
HBO,
show I did.
I just read it, and you have to get a copy of it immediately and get off of Parenthood.
Great,
Because
that'll happen.
there's one part in particular that you are insanely perfect for.
I can't even. This is like.
You don't want to read it. Don't read it.
I don't even.
It's
What can
torturous.
I? No. But I would like to.
No, he's got a show at HBO.
Ugh, this is
Yeah, he is really a brilliant writer.
Yeah.
There's no way around it.
And there is something in that, that to me is just like, when that kind of writing for television works, there's just really nothing better. And there's no better medium, and I would even argue, more than movies. I'd rather see his stuff in TV. It's just...
Because you want it to go on week after week.
Yeah.
You don't want it to be over in 2 hours.
Right. Also, did they really shoot The Social Network at Harvard?
Let's look that up on the interwebs.
And did it
I'm
not
going to say
bother
about
you-
3 minutes of it was shot at
And I
Harvard.
think it was shot in the summer. That's the only thing that bothers me about the movie.
And they're all bundled up for the winter?
They're bundled up, and there's CGI frost.
That I hate.
But did you notice that?
Of course I did.
It bugged the bejesus out of me, and all I could think, and then every time somebody would talk, it was just this you were watching, and it didn't seem real.
Yeah.
Where if you watch The Paper Chase, it's really the winter.
Good point.
You know?
I was waiting. It took 102 shows before someone referenced The Paper Chase.
I love
And
that they were
finally it's happened. Hausman to block.
Ed Herman, my former TV father.
Yes, right?
Yeah.
There was a question.
oh.
There was a question on the interweb somewhere about if you were in still contact with the
Yes.
with the Herman.
With the Herman and Kelly Bishop and my former TV daughter. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, of course, yeah. That
yeah.
makes total sense.
Yeah.
Well, since we're on the topic, loosely, the David Fincher on The Social Network with the fake steam, I don't know what to make of him because there's a sense about his work that is like dream-like while also being reality, Benjamin Bratt, Fight Club. Mm-hmm. Benjamin Bratt? Why would I say Benjamin Bratt?
Button. Benjamin Bratt.
Wasn't Benjamin Bratt great in Benjamin Button? No, he
awesome.
wasn't.
And
But you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That sense of, is he doing it on purpose? That's the only thing I would like to ask or find out at some point because like the fake steam, he's not making anything other than an attempt at a false reality and technically trying to fool people. And when it takes you out of the movie, you've actually accomplished the opposite.
Well, the fake, this thing.
We're not the only ones that bothered, is what
really?
I'm saying.
Okay.
Because
this is the first place.
in other words, if people are bundled up in wardrobe,
Right.
so wardrobe department
Right.
took care of the problem. The set crew, designers, and they took care of it with fake
Right.
snow. I'm good to go here
Yeah.
on its winter.
But I think it's the hazard which we have in our own work, I feel like, of just things that are available to you. Like, I think he has that tool, so why
Right.
wouldn't he use it? It didn't used to be available, now it's available, and I think it's almost like the eye gets confused and begins to believe this is what reality looks like, I would argue, in the same way that with the tools of things we can do to our faces as women in particular, like you start to lose, you can see the people who lose the way,
Yes.
in terms of like what looks appropriate
I think
to
that's
the
what
eye.
I'm asking.
And I don't know, because for some people, all of that magic, both physically and technologically makes a movie better, and we can, for whatever reason in our household, we watch Jaws over and over and over.
You kidding me?
Really?
Jaws is on a continuous loop.
And I'm working with Richard Dreyfuss right now on Parenthood.
Right.
And Jaws is on a continuous loop, so you understand the strange,
Give us your favorite
compelling...
Roy Scheider moment. Come on.
Smile, you son of a...
No?
No.
Okay.
Oh, no.
And he's got
giving
the
out the
cigarette
chum.
hanging out of his mouth, and he's throwing the chum in the
yeah.
water, and he goes, does a double take? That's the best.
Yeah, because the camera goes back with him. Yeah, when he finally sees Bruce.
No, because the movie's always on, and if it's uncut, which it usually is, it's
gotta
like
watch it.
I just put it on the background.
But I have that with that, and I have that with Godfathers 1 and 2. It's
Sure.
like it's really a.
But those are rarely on.
They're on AMC with a huge amount of commercial interruption, and
Oh,
it's like
God.
you can suck up a whole like week just being like, come on, all right, one more section, and then it's like takes 4 hours to get there. But Jaws really looks fake, you know. I mean, the shark doesn't look real, right?
I'm sorry, you saying the shark isn't real? User M. Schmidt4378 in the chat room lives in Cambridge says they did not.
They did
a lot of filming of the Social Network there.
Okay.
Interesting.
But in Cambridge, on
Cambridge
campus?
or on campus?
Because for
M.
me, how
Schmidt,
beautiful that
come on.
school is, didn't get, it wasn't used as much as I would
Right.
think if they were really on the campus. And I feel like they have a rule there about filming or something.
I would think so.
That they don't, or something.
On campus, John Hopkins, an actual campus building at Harvard. This came from Frosty Feast.
Frosty Feast?
Frosty Feast is in
I thought that was lunch. On campus, John Hopkins, an actual campus building at Harvard. Okay, well that's not well. It's hard to understand what they're saying.
They're saying
And presumably that person went to either Johns Hopkins or Harvard, and we don't understand his
they
sentence.
shot scenes there. Is what
Right,
they're saying.
and Johns Hopkins. So I don't know.
All right, so let's go down here.
Okay.
10 movies. First of all, how do you feel
I don't
about the
even know what
Academy Awards saying you can now nominate 10 films?
I
Aren't
think
there
it's a
year
terrible
after year
idea.
going to be 5 appropriate ones and then 5 like what?
I understand maybe if you wanted to expand the category, you know, and add one more in, like which sometimes happens when something ties or something. 10 is
Yeah,
unbelievable. So
don't
ridiculous.
insist that it can only be 5. If some years it's appropriate that it
Yeah.
needs to be 7,
Right.
or sometimes it needs to be 4.
Well, and I would say that about actors too. It's like
Every
you know,
category.
Yeah, just
Yeah.
have it be. But then you'd have weird people campaigning for how many they think it should be that year or something. But
When you say weird people campaigning, do you mean Harvey Weinstein? Because he's always campaigning.
I mean, I don't know.
Yeah,
It's
yeah, yeah.
like it's 10 is just insane. I don't even know what they are. Tell me
Black
what they are.
Swan, talk to me.
It's great. It was wonderful. She's amazing.
I found it predictable and pretentious.
Okay.
The
But
Fighter.
She's amazing in what she did
She's
physically and like the
extraordinary.
dedication and all that stuff.
Ridiculous.
Yeah.
You know, she's got to win Best Actress. Has to.
She's going to. And all the pulling the skin off the fingernail. I mean, come on. That was really creepy.
The Fighter.
Was great. I thought he was great. I mean, but these things end up being, and not wrongly, but like whoever made the hugest transformation from who they actually are, you know? It's like Christian Bale, unrecognizable, incredible dedication to, you know, really getting that guy right. And I thought Mark Wahlberg, I mean, I thought everybody was great. It's also a story you've seen before.
Sure.
But I don't know. So is everything in a way.
Inception. Again, a story you've seen before.
I really liked Inception, but to me, it's almost in the category of like, it was a really wonderful movie, and it's a thriller. I don't know. It's like somehow, maybe because I've been brought up on the Oscars, I expect things to be more. That's an achievement as a movie. More talking, more people talking, and more sort of like the human connection. But I think, I mean, that had
Emotional.
both, and that was an amazing
It's more
visual, you
more
know.
spectacle than emotional connection.
But still, very well done. So far, I'm okay with our our picks.
Is he, since he was not nominated, do you find
the director?
Him being Leo underappreciated, do you think, at this point?
Leo DiCaprio.
As an actual talent? Because I think he's exceptional.
I think he's great. I don't think that is he left out of the
He's
thing?
not nominated.
You know, that's the hazard of that kind of movie. It's like the actor doesn't sort of get the credit. It's,
But in general, I think he's extraordinary.
I think there's not
he's
enough out there for him to do, I guess, or something. I mean,
or stretch, or
well, I don't know. I just, you know, it all comes down to there's just so few great stories and great scripts. And he's been nominated many times, hasn't he?
oh yeah.
I mean, I'm thinking of the, you know, Revolutionary Road, the Yates thing, like, he was for that, right? That, to me, I thought was really great. But, you know, sometimes these parts that are going to get you the nominations are like a bummer of a movie that nobody wants to make, you know, and
The Kids Are All Right.
I didn't see that.
There's not a single character in the film to root for. I'm shocked that the film's getting all the love that it is.
Okay.
We hated it.
Yeah.
King's Speech.
Lovely. I love a period drama. I enjoy Colin Firth.
Enjoyed every square inch of it.
Delightful. Jeffrey Rush, to me, really the, like, that was just, you
There's
know.
a clinic.
Huh?
I thought he was putting on an acting clinic. He's that good.
Yeah. Also, when we were on Broadway, because he was on Broadway doing a show at the time, he told me I was his Broadway crush.
Aww.
So
That
pretty
can't
much.
stink.
No, it was awesome.
127 hours.
I didn't see
that.
it. She was up his
Suggests the
arm.
movie's not over yet.
That to me, I don't know why I haven't seen it. I love him. I think he's great, and I bet he's wonderful in it.
I love the filmmaker. I love
Yeah.
every part of it. Did not bring myself to see it. I can only say in my small-minded way that I thought, so I'm going to watch a guy slowly decide to cut off his arm.
Exactly.
It's going to be fascinating. And Danny Boyle, great
Yeah,
filmmaker. It's going to be amazing.
Right.
I can't put it
understand.
in my to-do list.
I understand, and even still, like if it, when you see the little montage of it today, as you will when you leave this interview, will you feel more compelled and
all
go see
the
it?
trailers and previews I saw for it made it look like the feel-good picture of the year.
Right.
I
I
just
hate that too. It's just like, just tell me it's about the guy bites off his own arm. Like, don't sugarcoat it.
Right.
Don't make it look appealing.
technically speaking, though, you do know he doesn't bite his arm. Right? It's
I thought he had to
it's
eat it
Homer.
No, the shark does it.
It's Homer Simpson that tried to bite his arm
comes
off.
out. Shark climbs.
But how
in.
does he get
No.
it? He doesn't know. Doesn't he have to eat it off?
No, he's got.
He doesn't have any
I think
tools.
He has a tool. I think
Oh,
he's
he
got
does?
I think he's got a cutting device.
Oh.
Could be a rock.
I liked my version better when he has to
When he's biting it
cannibal
off?
himself.
Tearing the flesh? Yeah. Much more bold.
Right?
In fact, I have no respect for the character now in real life that he didn't chew it off.
Just bite it.
Social Network, other than the breathing?
I
than
enjoyed
the
it,
fake
and
breathing?
it just suffered for me from, like, I saw it too late in the game after people had just, like, I thought it was a really smart movie that it was, about something, again, pretty simple and,
We thought it was
know.
very well told and very
Yeah.
well acted and very well directed, and everything was done very, very well, and the film itself is not exceptional. That was
don't
sort of
know
our take on it.
I'm with her on that. That it was too. Everyone was blowing it like, "Oh my God, it's the best movie ever," and then
Yeah.
you see it and you're like, "It was good,"
Yeah.
you know.
I don't know
Expectation.
what are our expectations? Like, what am I always feel, especially as an actor, like when I've slaved away at something and somebody's like, "Nah, it was okay." I'm like, "Don't you understand?" Like, so I don't know where I get off ever being like, I don't know. It could have been better. Like it couldn't have been better because actually, when I first started doing half hour, and like
It's just the
some
human
people in my
element.
family would be like, I don't know, it's not very funny. I was, and I for the first time realizing like there's 25 people who went to Yale who like rewrote this joke 7 times. Like it's actually way harder than you think in every way.
And then at the end of the day, if you're looking for the reaction from strangers or family, they're only going to tell you
they didn't like.
how it, what it did for them, as opposed to
Right.
ever appreciating what the hell went into it.
Right.
So that is one of the things that makes me a little nutty normally about criticism, and that's why I want to keep this light as we're doing.
Yes.
This isn't real criticism. We're just kind of
okay.
going down the list.
All right.
Because, there's way too many people working hard and giving their lives for this. For example, Toy Story 3. Do you know how many stuffed animals were killed in the making of this film?
Toy Story 3 I also haven't seen. I heard it's great.
If you
but
don't
see, this is
cry-
a crazy category.
If you don't cry
I will. I'm crying
during
already.
Toy Story 3, you have
Yeah.
no soul.
But
We're talking to you, Corey Levin.
These-
we are.
soulless bastard. No soul.
why are these movies all in the same category?
Wait, I got 17 more.
Jesus.
True Grit.
I didn't see it. I love Jeff Bridges.
How great is Jeff Bridges?
He's the best.
He can't win 2 years in a row, but I will tell you his performance in this is
Yeah.
by far the best performance of
See,
the year.
I don't know why I didn't see that. Now these are all just making me feel guilty.
Winter's Bone.
Oh.
Winterbone?
I didn't see it.
I haven't even met anyone who's seen Winter's Bone other than professional film critics.
Yeah. Well,
Emily just yelled from the other room that she saw it. Maybe she'll type in her.
but is it on your pick for like an Oscar win?
It's on no one's pick, other than a film critic who might want to be different. Okay, so that's the other thing about 10 pictures get to be nominated now, but only 5 directors. So
And 5 actors. It's a total. It's silly.
Yeah.
It should be either a giant just free for all of like 10 people in everything, or
Have you worked with the Coen Brothers yet? I don't.
no.
So, the people who have sat here that have worked for them,
Yeah.
kind of speak similarly in the experience that but you've had those experiences, I'm sure, where you just kind of go. In the hand, they close your eyes and fall back into their arms, and everything's going to be fine.
Well, because no matter if it hits or doesn't, they have a point of view, and it doesn't seem like they're trying to please anyone else and they create a world, and that's actually the hardest thing
Also,
to do.
when you're an artist and your work is only compared to your other work,
Right, right.
as a filmmaker especially, that's the most rarest of
And how many of those
qualities.
guys do we have, or girls? We have a handful.
They're just outside this door. Can we bring them in?
Yay!
Also, this question in the middle,
How do you decide when to take a question?
I sense it.
Matthew Perry
This
asks,
one comes in from the emails.
Oh, that old thing.
Who was one of your favorite guest stars that appeared during the Gilmore Girls run? People who were comings and goings. Did you have a favorite? And you know what? One of the favorites. Let's take the pressure off of having to do a Sophie's Choice thing here. Because you've had many favorites, I guess.
Many. They were all my favorites. I think a particular
What comes to mind?
Sally Struthers.
Sure.
Who played just an insane character. But Sally, as a person, is someone that I'm really glad to have met and worked with. And
And how about that as a byproduct of your job?
it was ridiculous. I mean, the people who sponsored me to join the TV Academy, you know, so that you can vote for things, were Marion Ross, Mrs. Cunningham,
Sure, Mrs. C.
and Sally.
Wow.
Like, it's just, I feel, you know.
We went to Mount Rushmore to get your sponsors.
Exactly, but I appreciate I appreciate that. Like,
Yeah.
you know, there's a sense, and now I'm going to sound really just old, but I feel that younger actors don't have maybe as much appreciation for what kind of came before, historically speaking, you know, in pop culture, television, theater. I mean, you know, when I grew up, I like idolized Katharine Hepburn, and I'm, you know, getting to like a group age now where, you know, I say the names of people, and sometimes, you know, they don't know who I'm talking about.
Was that part of your youth? I know your dad had a great influence on you in becoming a big-time reader. Mm-hmm. But was he also the, hey, let me show you Katharine Hepburn guy?
He
Or how did you
was, hey,
discover
take
that?
me to anything that was, you know, going on in D.C., and so
I know he would
think-
take you to theater, and he would take you to New York to theater sometimes, too.
and ballet and just kind of whatever was around. So I think it just gave me a sense of, just because this thing doesn't look like something that's familiar to me doesn't mean I, you know, shouldn't investigate it. And
Right.
and yeah, I think, you know, there were books probably about like Sarah Bernhardt and like the you know, first ever real, you know, theater actors and kind of a sense of that history. And then there was the 4 o'clock movie. Did you have the 4 o'clock movie?
Sure.
And I got a lot of my education from the 4 o'clock movie. Elvis Week.
Let's talk a moment about Elvis Week, because there's been a lot said about Shark Week, but I don't think enough respect is paid to Elvis Week.
First of all, Elvis Week was my favorite week of the 4 o'clock movie. And he is a wonderful, wonderful actor.
Sure he is.
And
Better believe it.
it was a whole world that, you know, in like preppy Washington, I was like, and they wear bikinis and they play on the beach all day and somebody plays the guitar and then they go to a dance-off or whatever. And I just thought that was like the coolest thing.
I also love Elvis as a busboy. You know, he
Yeah.
really kind of had
so humble in
any
all of his work.
profession.
Yeah, yeah.
And then they had to make him a ginger in order to be a hick. He was already a hick. They forgot that part.
What does he have red hair in?
I thought he had red hair. I just see him in a plaid shirt, and he shows
Oh,
up. He's like his
no.
own twin or his own cousin
Oh,
or
that's
something.
the best. Oh,
Yeah.
wow. Yeah, I don't know. But that's where a lot of my film education came from.
Yeah. Wow. That's
Is it
pretty
time
cool.
to take another question? How's your drink? Have you had a lot of it?
It was huge. I don't know if you
Mine
remember.
didn't. I'm not sure what my ratio was. I kind of can't tell. I think it's cranberry-ish. I think I'm okay.
Yeah. I think you're okay to drive.
Yes,
That's for
God.
sure.
I'm having an Oscar party. You realize?
Yeah. Who isn't?
Of like 5 people, they're starting without me.
Give me what life was like, because I know our own Jamie spent some time working for the fine folks at Disney World. She was in charge of a cart.
I had a popcorn wagon.
You had a popcorn wagon,
Right?
but you
not
spent 2
bad.
days as a mascot for America's World Cup soccer team.
That's
I believe
right.
Striker the dog is what we're talking about. And what I enjoyed most about the story was that how you shared how, while you were a cast member, as they would be called at the Disneyland, which meant you had a giant head mask so no one could see your face, who was inside of the giant Striker the dog. As you posed for each photo, you were actually smiling. You, the person, were smiling.
Try to not
smile.
Yeah, try to pose for a picture when someone's like, okay, 1, 2, 3. Like, try.
Well, that's fine if you're gonna insist on breathing logic into this. But I ask you this, young lady. You admitted at one point that you had spent a goodly amount of the day, more than half, before you finally thought, oh my God, I'm smiling.
And then it was an effort not to smile. I mean, those were just terrible, terrible times. You know, those
It was
were
2 days.
No, that was 2 days, but that was a time of having like really weird, you know, catering jobs where I'd have to wear like a uniform and shoes, like, you know, working in like lunchrooms and stuff, and I did the toy fair a couple of years. Yeah, I mean, I actually didn't. Yeah, the toy fair, not so terrible, but doing like convention-y things and, you know, just like anything to
the
make
car of
any
the
money.
Future. Did you do that?
I didn't really do that. That would have been more like model-y, which was not my thing. But just, you know, leaving Brooklyn in the morning with like a garment bag and, you know, a dream. And, you know, sitting in like various diners all day and coming home like
May I suggest that's the name of your second book? Not the first one, but your second book should be...
What's the first one?
Leaving Brooklyn with a garment bag and a dream.
Yeah.
I do want to hear a little bit about the... well, we talked briefly about Billy Bob, but the Bad Santa thing, you were only on the movie, you said prior, for 2 weeks.
Well, the whole movie was only 6, probably.
Really?
Yeah, it was a very small budget, and no one really knew what it was at all.
That it was going to be one of his biggest hits by far, kind of thing.
People were... All the producers were like, we don't know, we're not sure, is it funny? You know, and he really had a vision for it from the beginning. Like, he really knew what that character was, what the world of the movie was. And I always remember this. I hope this isn't embarrassing to him, but like, after he saw it, he said, somebody asked him if he liked it, and he said, there's not one thing I would change. Which, as someone who never feels that way, you know, about things and tries not to watch anything, I just thought there was such... That was so revealing of like what kind of an actor he is and how he really knew what he was doing, and that's, you know, why it kind of strangely works. But
well, of course, you're talking about Billy Bob Thornton. It's one thing to, as a strong, independent woman, come into your own and have various levels of work and friends and success, but until you're on film and get to holler, "Fuck me, Santa," I don't know that you really have a right to address...
To call yourself a woman of any kind.
It's kind of what I was going for. But as fun as that might have been in front of a crew and in front of a rolling camera, I have to wonder what an audition for such a thing must have been.
Well, I didn't want to go to the audition because I didn't understand. I was like, I don't...
What the hell is this?
I don't understand. I did not understand the It read so dark on the page that
dark as in not funny.
Yeah, dark
as in
not
cruel.
funny and mean.
His character is very mean.
Yeah,
spirited.
And this is before maybe I knew it was him, because once now knowing him, just that southern kind of charm he has, and there's like something about him that's so lovable.
And you also know he gets the joke when you talk to him.
Yeah.
But when you read it, you're saying there's no joke to get. It's just mean and cruel.
It just seemed really mean, yeah. And the kid you thought was going to be, you know, traumatized.
I never read the script, so I have to assume when you read the script, your character comes off as so sort of...
Slutty?
Not just slutty, though, but more like as a human, just sort of discarded by life, kind of...
well, so
if it reads dark and serious, then I read this as sad and not funny.
Totally, and also not enough to play with. I was like, I don't know who this person is, why does she like this guy, and you know, what's the... Yeah, it seemed like some weird like fetish movie, you know, where like...
Right. She just wants to fuck Santa, that's all.
Yeah, but then I was like, well, that's no weirder than, you know, musical theater where it's like, Bill, yes, Mary, and they're in love. You know what I mean? It's just like, that's it. And so I just kind of went at it from that standpoint of like, this is no weirder than his thing, and, you know, who doesn't love Santa? That was sort of my thought, and I thought, and some people just love him that much more. And yeah, that was my question too at the time. I mean, I just went in and humped the chair and said, you know.
You
and,
just
like,
found the
went for
title
it.
of your first book.
I just went in and humped the chair, followed by.
Who doesn't love Santa?
Yeah. So yeah, and you know, I don't know. It just was a funny, lucky, great thing.
Yeah, but I mean, also I would imagine in that situation, it not only reads dark and tragic, but in order to bring it to life in an audition, you have to feel something funny is being watched.
Mm-hmm. Well, I
So you're
always
bringing-
thought I was a character actor. Like, I never thought I would end up playing, you know, any kind of leading lady. So I always like think about I like the small parts with the weird people, you know, and sometimes, and this is not a compliment, I'm giving myself, but like funny when I don't mean to be, you know what I mean? Like I've gone in on things where I was trying to actually, you know, and so my take on things is just helpful if it's a weird kind of comedy, you know, and so I don't think that I that's just what I relate to more. I just kind of went with
Breathe something different into it. Yeah.
you know, the act of someone in a room
Sure.
humping a chair. It's
Right.
just like you know.
You're going to get laughs
You're gonna get
without
laughs
trying.
right there.
Yeah, because it's a chair.
Yeah,
First of all,
it's not a person.
No.
And also, who does this? Like, whose job is this? You know, thing to. I've done crazy. You know, it's as stupid as like back in the day when I didn't really know in an audition, like, should you mime everything? And you'd like open a car door. What are you doing? Like, why are you doing that? Like, they'll do that for you, you know. But when you start, you don't know. So
I
it's sort
had
of like-
regrettable moments in auditions.
Like,
I thought, because I wasn't theater trained, I came from stand-up, so I had no formal training and had to learn how to do a lot of real moments in acting. I basically learned from going on 100 auditions.
yeah.
In terms of being present and being true. So I would try to make up for what I knew would be not a great audition by coming in and taking over the room. You know, so I literally would walk in a room and say, "Who's?" Because there'd be 9 executives. Whose office is this? Because we can get you a bigger one. I'm guessing.
Yep.
And having been on the other side of that now, this is what happens.
Not always.
Smile.
No, obviously not, or you would not be sitting here. I mean, oh wait, the check was good in your
is
improv?
bad.
Oh, right, right. I stopped for a minute. I didn't understand. Because some people like that sometimes, and that's probably how things started happening for you. Because I have a relationship to that kind of thing too. I was like,
Break it up.
yeah, but just be yourself so that you're not waiting for them to tell you who to be, you know, or you're not waiting for them to give you permission to start. It's like, you know,
Yeah.
what's that?
I was trying to make sure that everything was okay over there. Meryl Streep, that phony baloney Meryl Streep. Holy terrific. I'm thinking inspiring on several levels.
Unbelievable.
When you work with her.
I mean, the thing is,
Also the mother-hen aspect of the real person, talent aside.
I just was too out of my mind with admiration to enjoy it as much as I wish I had. I had a small part in this movie, One True Thing, when Renee Zellweger had just done Jerry Maguire, and it was her next movie. I played her friend, and that the whole thing was unlike. It was only the second movie I'd ever done, and it's with Meryl Streep and William Hurt, but honestly, that was one of the first times I was like, I have to get a grip because I couldn't be in these scenes properly. You know, I eventually would get there, but it was I just brought so much admiration. It's like gets in your way. You know, it's not you can't work when you're like, I really look up to you. You know, it's like it's gonna mess up everything else that's happening.
So, but at some point you were able to relax in it and actually.
She was great. She
takes away all that.
She takes away all of that, and she's just so good, and she's very real. She's been nice to me since then. How many movies has she done since then that she
72
remembers me and is always, and even in that movie was like, you're a good listener, you know, this is like, was I don't know if, imagine what a burden it must be to be Meryl Streep in the way that every actor brings so much of that kind of thing, you know, to you, and that she can
Actually,
still.
I do know. As it turns out, lucky me.
And then I went the other way and started, like, I ran into her at something and I started getting real sassy because I was like, I have got to just get this whole, like, nervous thing under control. So she said something about something, and she's like, I mean, you know, what it's like to be, she's making a joke at her own expense, like, you know, what it's like to be Meryl Streep. And I was like, ugh, you don't have to tell me. Day after day. I was like, what am I doing? I'm like,
She probably loved that.
I guess, but
No,
I mean,
I'm sure.
I can go the other way too. But she was really, just really great. And again, you know, that kind of movie, it's just about a family, a relationship. It's, you know, there aren't enough of those as far as I'm concerned. That are really trying to say something that aren't like, I don't know, the light romantic comedy version, you know.
Right.
And William Hurt, I can't get enough.
Wonderfully, wonderful, strange. Also.
Yeah,
and just riveting to watch no matter what.
Riveting to watch, yeah. Body Heat, another movie that was just on, like, the other night.
That's
and
a flawless
kind of,
film, in my money.
It's
literally a flawless film.
It's just all
Ted
those,
dancing,
oh, it's the best.
dancing.
With the glasses and the whole thing, yeah. So, yeah, I had a lot of great experiences in a way before I could kind of enjoy them as fully, you know. It was a couple of years ago, I played Diane Keaton's daughter in this movie.
I was just going to ask about Diane.
And that's another person who I just, you know, it's like...
She's an institution.
Yeah. And
a fully capable, rounded individual who has had a thriving life outside of show business, and you really sort of scratch your head and go, well, this isn't fair. How have you done this?
Well, and who is both a really gifted comedian and a great dramatic actress.
Oh, boy.
And who's been able to have that range in her career, which, like, who does really that anymore?
Right.
So, and that was another, like, nice friendship and encouraging person and just, like, good experience. Yeah. The thing is, you know, I'll never work again, so I'm glad that I had those times. Don't you feel that way every single time?
Sure.
Yeah.
As did Jimmy Stewart on his deathbed.
Well, he was...
Well, he was dying.
Well.
No one had the wherewithal to say, well, Jimmy, you actually won't work again. I spoke with the doctor, and that was it.
That should be how they tell old actors it's all over. You'll never work again.
Are you ready for another Tweet 5?
Yeah.
Keckner, thank you. This from Shahani Chris Naratnit. Too many consonants and too many vowels and too many syllables. But apologies all around.
So the person
It looks
from
like
the...
Shanae.
It does look like Shanae, but give me that
It's not
last name.
Shanae. I know.
Give it to me.
Capital K-R-I-S-N-A-R-A-T-N-E.
No, don't spell it. I want you to pronounce it.
I don't know.
Okay.
I got nothing.
Satiny.
Sure. Shanae Chrysantini.
Shanae.
Love you. Forgive me.
Wait, I have a question.
Please.
Does the person, they are creating the Tweet 5 and then they send it in?
They created it specifically for you,
Okay.
as you can tell. They're not just designed to ruin your life. As
But
you
is this
mentioned
like when
earlier.
you have interviews for things and the questions that the interviewers feel are too rude to ask, they say fans want to know, or they go like, you know, people wrote in.
You know what? 102 shows, I've never done that, but 103, I'm doing that. I'm doing that with Dave Thomas. I will absolutely use the audience to ask a question that I'm unfamiliar with.
That.
No, this is, I like to involve them. You know, I really,
No, I do too.
Truly. But
I'm for them.
Yeah. I'm for them more than me, to be honest. Okay. Guest starring on Glee or another Broadway musical.
Oh, God. Well, I mean, those aren't really, but Broadway. I would
Sure.
do Broadway.
Guest star on
You're
Parenthood.
just making me feel good about it.
George Clooney or Matthew Perry?
Matthew Perry.
Come on, what are we talking about? Cooking or eating out, please?
Eating out.
Really? I thought you loved to cook.
I do.
But
It's a lot of work.
oh boy.
I feel that you're disappointed. I love to cook too. So cooking. I'll go cooking.
Well, how hard is it to not return to the same favorite restaurants when you love eating out as much as you do, and I do as well?
I only have 4. It's a really sad.
And not
circuit.
ordering the same thing.
No, we order the same thing. That's it.
So really, you have 4 families that you like to cook for you.
Yes.
You have
Yeah.
places called restaurants.
Yeah.
I love that. So I'm not the only one. Playing board games or with apps on your iPhone?
I'm still kind of board games.
Because we're going to talk about your fear of the interweb, so I don't know how many apps you're downloading. You have
I have
people
some.
download for you?
No, I can do it.
iPad?
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Favorite designer, Marc Jacobs or von Furstenberg?
I think the von Furstenberg looks better on me. Marc Jacobs is for like a shorter person, it seems. I'm saying this to the person who asked. I know that you're like glazing over.
Marc
No,
Jacobs is a little funky too.
Marc Jacobs?
It's a little like
funky, yeah,
more
you gotta
vintage
yeah.
inspired. It feels like it doesn't look good on me.
Because no one was tall in the 40s.
I mean, they really weren't.
Let's be honest.
Yeah, they weren't 5'9".
They had
I
to
like
wait.
Marc Jacobs because he's got a Clyde Frog tattoo.
Hello.
He
in
does?
real life.
Yeah.
In real life.
Oh no, I like Marc Jacobs, and the shoes and the bags are good.
Yes.
Time out for.
But how random is that? Clyde Frog.
Clyde Frog, first time mentioned on the show also. We have a lot of firsts today. Kenny, I'm making. Let's talk about where your fear of the interwebs started and how it is that you have an iPad and you enjoy using it, but are able to somehow avoid the interwebs. How did this start?
I grew up in a house with a father who
Sorry, we're out of time.
and then Fluffy died, and with a father who saw nothing necessary in technology. I vowed that I would never be this way. Who didn't want a good car. He's like, a car is a piece of transportation. That's it. Who cares what other stuff it has or what it looks like? It's like gets you from here to there. We didn't have a microwave. We didn't have a VCR because he thought it would like encourage. It make him sound so grim, but it was very fun. But just like he did not, understand or want any of this technology.
Your father was Mr. Magoo.
He was Mr. Magoo and Mr. Rogers, strangely. And so I don't know. I didn't have a typewriter. I didn't have a computer. I went through all of college with no computer. I eventually got like a Brother word processor.
How do you not have a typewriter? How do you do papers?
I wrote them by hand.
No, you didn't.
Yeah.
You didn't hand them in by hand.
Not in the later years of college, but yeah, you could still kind of get away with that.
Wow.
I know.
So then your penmanship is incredible.
It's really good.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then
Capital G's ever a problem? Because there's a couple of extra
No.
loops in there for me.
I block print.
All right then.
Yeah, I have no cursive. And then I went to acting school, so who was doing anything technological there? And then by the time, I don't know, and then it came from, not to bring us down, but to me the world is a much meaner place than it was in this business when I started here. I've lived here now 10 years. There were no little kids on skateboards with cameras that they then turn into TMZ. There were no people whose job it is that day to go find a picture of somebody's cellulite so that you can guess whose it is. Like, there was none of that.
I know.
And it actually really disturbs me. And so I just sort of chose to check out of it. It's like, if I'm not going to look for myself, which I'm not, I don't want to look for anybody else. I don't want to, it's like, so when I say I have the fear of the internet, it's like, I don't want to be hooked in to certain information that I feel is like.
But how about information
of the
subjects,
valid kinds?
be it cooking or whatever?
Sure, but I think that they get awfully mixed, don't they? It's like, I really like the Huffington Post, but it has a lot of like Tiger Woods alleged,
Right.
hooker, and like there's just some stuff that I feel like you can't get away from, and so when I say fear, it's like I knew that Facebook was not. Also because I'm just sort of can get very involved. Like I literally went on YouTube one day looking at cold Broadway clips, and I woke up and it was like 2 weeks later. Like I cannot be allowed to, I just get kind of into these things that then I'm not like, part of society or whatever. So
you check out.
Yeah. And there's so much to see in other ways that, now I do wish that I could, and I know I would love all this stuff too. Like I know I would love Twitter. I would love Twitter. It's like people being funny and hearing from people I think are interesting. I think it's, it's genius. But I already...
It's the time. It's the investment.
It's the looking at the phone. It's like, there's another article in the paper today about, someone went and did like a simulated driving while looking at the phone and like crashed 50 times, just looking for like 1 second. And I'm afraid. I'm afraid of phones and the internet. But so, for me, it's like I don't look at those magazines, and because the gossip finds its way to you anyway. That stuff finds its way to you anyway.
Yeah.
And I just try to, and it is some weird thing. It's like, how I feel like it's like my little boycott is going to have some effect. Nobody's going to give a shit like everybody's doing. None of these things are going to be affected.
And I don't really think it's a boycott. I think it's what works for you and your sensibility.
Yeah.
At some point, you realize this is not for me. So yeah, I don't know that you've ever, just from what I'm garnering from the conversation, that you've taken a stance as much as, for me personally, it's too much of a distraction or just bad stuff that I'd rather not have involved in my life.
But I wish I could go the other way. Like, there was somebody on the Broadway show who like read all the reviews and knew like every single thing, good and bad. And so then, I mean,
But
there's
did you
that
do
way
the traditional
too.
thing where you go to the restaurant after opening night?
Sardi's, no, because they come out now like that. It's
While the show's going
internet,
on, actually,
literally,
people
and
on their
before
iPads
that,
in the audience. You're right.
and before that, because now you have one preview and like it's out. Like everyone, you might as well have been. Yeah. So,
That's the other thing I find. So I mean, it's always been true that critics, they're gonna themselves, if they have their own egos, which of course they do, they're gonna go further and be talked about and quoted more in part of a poster and part of a thing if they're negative. So they all seem to. Well, if I don't have anything bad to say, why am I talking? Sort of mentality, as opposed to the great tradition of it being an essay and breaking down the actual elements. So it seems more and more hurtful to any production and all the people working. My vision as standing back from the Broadway experience, which is, oh boy, like Adam Sandler's made a career of, don't ever read the reviews because they simply do not matter in terms of what we're attempting to do and the success we will have. How can we possibly fucking care? But in theater, it seems like it's always been part and parcel, even the tradition of going to Sardi's, as I mentioned, at the end of opening night and staying up till 4 a.m. till the reviews came in, the newspaper dropped off on the sidewalk. We all have that visual. That all seems to have been advanced by technology in terms of, I can hate it faster than you. And so, yeah, I don't know how ultimately anyone benefits from that. And at some point, I think the audience becomes a little savvy to it. Although I've quoted it many times, which is, you'll never go broke underestimating the C- students that make up this country. But I do think they catch on at a certain point of, I'm not going to let the reviews tell me, it's going to be whose name's on the marquee.
It's some combination of so many things. It's
if there's a
what
revival,
the competition is, what people feel like seeing, what And
I think that's one of the bigger things is the competition.
Yeah.
People ask me why I'm not playing Vegas. I go, because 30 of the greatest acts on the planet are up and down the strip every night now.
Right.
Garth Brooks is down at the Wynn. Sorry?
Yeah.
Did you miss Bette Midler? Because she's at Caesars.
Yeah.
What are we talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I would think the competition in a situation like Broadway with all the names, bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, which is pretty fantastic if you're a ticket buyer.
It's fantastic, and also there's, I mean, to me one of the most moving things was, in this economy, families coming and doing what was clearly their traditional week in New York to see theater. I couldn't believe how many people we were still getting that, were there to have that experience, and that's what they are spending their money on. And they're staying in a hotel, and they're eating in Times Square, and they're, and like, God bless. It made me really just
and also having
moved.
a Guys and Dolls experience as a family, which would mean something. Yes.
That's what I was going to say, is that it was great that it was Guys and Dolls, because I hate now how there's like the summer blockbuster of musicals now, like with the Spider-Man and then Addams Family and Shrek. It's like they take something that's popular and they make this horrible musical out of it. They should just do more traditional.
More revivals.
Yeah,
But
more
it's funny
revival.
because then you're competing with those, with big
But they're
movie
horrible.
names.
But
and
for
big-
us, we got to have a Guys and Dolls Broadway experience, and for all these families that are coming.
Right, that's what I'm saying. The family should go see
Yeah.
more shows like Guys and Dolls.
I agree.
Thanks.
No, they
truly.
should, because then it's become like the summer blockbuster.
It's also-
musical
Well, it's
of
part of
theater.
our tradition. It's part of our, American history that we should be very proud of. I mean, we have some really beautiful musicals that do get revivals and do get performed but yeah, it's it's the business model has changed like anything. And
Meanwhile, we have to wrap up because I'm going to see Rock of Ages.
Hey, I liked Rock of Ages.
my
You
friend
did.
wrote Rock of Ages. I liked it too. They're making it into a movie.
Oh, thank goodness.
Yeah.
Hope they use Constantine.
Come on.
Constantine was awesome.
That's what everyone says.
He's great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The female is Sherry, just so they can sing, "Oh, Sherry." It's awesome.
You better believe it. You've got a party to host. I'd like you to start wrapping your thoughts around what a Larry King game might be coming
I
from
forgot
you.
all about that.
Take your time. I'm going to buy you a little time.
Okay.
All right,
Okay.
but it's coming up.
Yeah.
As we've reached the point where I need to let you go, or you're going to be late for your own damn party. So basically, when you're feeling it, that is your camera. And again, it's kind of that bumper moment where Larry will share something and then go to the phones. Like, he decides to share this too much information moment. It's almost like, why did he just talk about Oreo cookies? You know, for no reason at all.
Okay.
And then you go to the phones.
Okay. Sometimes I'm confused by the rattling sound in my pants. Malfa, Texas.
We have a winner. No more calls. Pencils down. Perfect. Perfect. And a little scary, and then fun. Right? Thank you so much.
It was a little more Regis, though, don't you think?
No.
Okay.
Oh, no. I don't want it to sound like Larry. That'd be horrible.
Right.
Honestly and truly, thank you so much.
Thank
I
you.
know you have people coming at your house.
That's okay, they're starting.
Oh, they're starting without you?
Yeah.
I'm sure. But honestly and truly, it meant a whole bunch. And tell so-and-so that I asked him a year ago, and so, seriously.
He'll be here.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
All right, good. Pass that along?
Yeah.
Okay. But honestly, thanks.
Thanks.
It means a lot.
I love that you're doing this. I really, it's like a wonderful thing.
The long form?
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah.
It's
There's a
good
couple
for
people
the
talking.
people.
The people who watch the show can't really believe it that actual conversation is taking place. So yeah,
Yeah.
it's great for them.
Well, it's almost it's a strange adjustment to make from our standpoint too, where you're used to having a much more false conversation that has been pre-planned ahead of time.
Yeah. How about
So-
auditioning your anecdotes the night
Yeah.
before for the segment producer?
Well, how about living a life where you're like, that would make a good story,
Right.
Something that like
I gotta save that for coming.
kind of happened, or like in other people's stories where I'm like, can I use that? And like, this is just not a normal,
Yeah.
way to be.
Yeah, we actually spoke.
We did.
Sit there uncomfortably
Okay.
for just another 90 minutes while I wrap things up into the camera.
Okay.
Okay. There's your Lauren Graham, and that's exactly what we wanted, quite honestly. And for those of you that are a potential guest for the future, watch this, listen to this show, and know that all you have to do is actually converse. And it's a lot of fun. I mentioned who's coming up in the shows in the coming weeks and months. Check the calendar there at kevinpollakschatShow.com. We do have all kinds of developments that we'll be sharing with you regarding the viewings and the listenings of shows being offered up as seasons and what have you. Those of you who follow us along know what I'm talking about. Suffice to say that we are hard at work. iPad apps, all sorts of
Jesus,
things.
really?
Yeah, sure. Why not?
Yeah.
It's all in the works, and it's all pretty exciting, but it's going to take a few more weeks, so bear with us, please. Thank you very much. I don't say that often enough for bringing us into your lives, however you choose to. And thanks to the crew also here coming down on a big night, otherwise celebrated by, I guess, 1 billion people will supposedly be watching the Oscars around the world. But I wonder over the last hour, 47 minutes, what my crew has been up to outside these hallowed walls that you can hear through, a pin drop. I wonder if only there was some footage of what they've been up to.
I want to thank my agent. I want to thank my mom. Thank the Academy. And lastly, I want to thank myself. Josh. Josh, we got a show to do. Come on, Josh. Wake up. I just dreamt that I won an Oscar. And you were there, J-Mac?
Yeah, whatever. Just go get me a soda. God, pay attention.
I dreamt that I won an Oscar. Yeah, go get me a soda. If that doesn't tell you what show business is, you'll never know. Thanks to the crew doing a great job. Another hilarious crew gag. We thank you. And next week, you wrote it? Jamie wrote that. What? No wonder she's the head writer. What?
But J-Mac wrote one of the funniest Chiron, though, today. That was fun. That was all J-Mac.
The funniest Chiron?
Yeah.
What did it say? We were talking.
Santa's ho, ho, ho.
Oh. You got a laugh from our guest. There you
That was
go.
all J-Bag.
Santa's ho ho ho.
I've never had that before. I'm really pleased.
All right, well, we'll leave on that note for sure. Until next week, and as always, get out of my face.
He's all of the rainbows, but none of the rain. He's dry, but he's an alcoholic. He's hosting this train wreck again and again. And he wears a hat. He's carrying